Harris with those tips on traveling safely, whether on a plane or staying in a hotel.
If you're traveling this holiday season, there are a few ways to add extra layers of protection against germs. Minute Minute mom Rachel Harris has a list of must-have items for your carry-on and tips for the hotel. Good morning, Rach.
And good morning to you and happy fall. With the change of seasons, I bet some of you are thinking about venturing out there and traveling. Well, I just did it. I took a flight. I stayed in a hotel. It was great, but it was different because it is 2020. So here's a few tips that I think makes life a little less stressful and hopefully a little safer as well. First of all, pack a small carry-on bag that you can just throw under your seat. People were pretty good about social distancing in the airport, on the plane, except for when the plane landed, and I get it, everybody wants to get off. So I was awfully glad that I could just grab this from under my seat and not have to deal with the overhead bin. Okay, here are some things I put in my bag to take the stress away, or to lessen the stress anyway. Don't forget masks. You're gonna need them at the airport, you're gonna need them on the plane, you're gonna need them at the hotel. A lot of places it is still mandatory. Bring a little baggie too, and backup masks, and that way if you drop a mask, you have the baggie to put it in. Also pens. A lot of the places in the hotels and the airport have touchless technology, but not all of them. So when I had to use a pen that a bunch of people used all day, I didn't like that. So I was glad that I remembered that I did have pens. I remember that a little later in the trip. I go, that's right, I packed those, so do that. Also a pair of socks, because I did forget socks and I was in flip-flops, so when I had to walk barefoot on that germy floor in the airport through security, I didn't like that at all, so don't forget socks. And then I was lucky to find Clorox travel wipes, found those at Target, but these are hard to find. But really, there's lots of great generic brands on the shelves now. The reason I like this is when I got on the plane, I used it to wipe down my tray, my seat, but also it was a nice way to give my seatmate a hint that I was going to be conscientious about the germs, and I hoped that he would be. Speaking of other people on the plane, I was glad that I had my drink and my snack before my flight, because the gentleman in the aisle seat, I was in the window seat, he wore a mask, but he just had his nose out the whole time, and the guy behind me wore his mask properly, but he sneezed the whole time, so I decided I just wasn't going to eat at all, and I was glad I ate before the flight. Now granted, my flight was only an hour long, but if you are thinking about that stuff like I am, I like that tip as well. And last but not least, don't forget hand sanitizer, but remember, you need the travel size to get through security.
Great tips. Thank you, Rachel. She'll be back later in the show to share more tips for staying in a hotel during the holidays.